I'm here with the #1 best-selling author, and you have your own podcast, right? What's the name of your podcast?
The Janine Hernandez Experience.
Ooh, The Experience. And you have your own book publishing academy, right?
Yes, I do.
We're going to be talking about all that today, right now, actually. So, Janine Hernandez, how are you today?
I'm doing amazing. How are you?
I am great. So, I asked you, so every guest I have come on the show, I ask them, hey, what drink do you want? And they'll say, oh, soda, water, beer. And you chose Sprite with vodka, right?
Yes,
So,
a little splash of lemon.
with a little splash of lemon. Don't forget the little splash of lemon. So why did you choose this drink?
Honestly, it's just refreshing.
It is kind of refreshing, actually, now that I'm drinking more of it. It is.
It's a little refreshing.
Yeah. Loosen you up in the morning.
Gets you going.
Yeah. And you say you don't like coffee.
I don't like coffee.
Why don't you like coffee?
Actually, I do. It tastes really good, but it gives me tummy aches, so I'd
Yeah.
stay away from it.
Do you just drink it black, or do you usually put cream in there, or?
If I could, it would be cream and all
Yeah.
the sugars and all the whipped cream, all that stuff.
all
But
that,
I can't.
all that sugary stuff. Yeah. So now, well, that's why we're sticking to this. So cheers to this.
Cheers to this.
And hopefully I don't feel nothing after this, because I gotta, go other places after this too. So.
Same.
And you have another podcast you're going to after this, right?
Yes, I am.
Explain that. What's that podcast about?
It's called Just Grow Podcast
Uh-huh.
with Nico, and super excited to chat with him too.
Nice. So you
Making
got a
it
busy day
podcast
today.
Actually, and I did one this morning too. So it's,
Oh, you did?
I did. Yeah. It's
Man, busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so how long have you started your podcast? How long have you been doing your podcast for?
I believe about 3 years, right around the pandemic. It's
Oh,
been
okay,
3
cool.
years.
Yeah. So the Janine Hernandez Experience, right?
Yes. Mhm.
So what do you talk about on your podcast?
Any and everything. Just honestly, I like to interview authors, but then I talk about just random stuff.
Just random stuff. Yeah.
About my books or just life. And Yeah.
Your latest book. Tell us about your latest book. I believe in your latest book you talk about your experience with certain relationships, right? And how you've grown from that. Am I right?
Well, my latest book is a children's book, but that one, it's called The Light in Times of Darkness, and I speak about how I overcame narcissistic abuse.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I talk all about that in the book.
Yeah, that's intense. I mean, narcissistic abuse. I mean, I don't want to say too much, but I know from experience how draining that could be, and like how much of a toll that can take on you as a person. So I feel that when I saw that, I was like, wow, okay, there you go. Like, and you explain, I saw a couple of YouTube videos of you too, of how you've overcame it. And like, I saw an older video where you talk about you're like recovering from it. And sometimes you get triggers from the past with the narcissistic abuse,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Triggers are inevitable. But yeah, after I went through that, I literally took like 2 months off of work. I did
Wow.
nothing.
Yeah.
But thank God I was in a position in my business to where I didn't need to work. I had money and I was fine, but
That's
I
good.
literally just went through the healing process, and it was ugly. But
Well,
it ended up being beautiful at the end.
Well, I'm sure you needed to take that 2 months to really recover from, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Because a lot of times people just kind of, well, we broke up, and then it's like you go through the motions of life, and then 10 years later it'll hit you of like, oh, you never dealt with that. You know what I mean?
yeah. So, and explain what you were doing. So like for viewers that might, are going through it or have gone through it, what did you do to like overcome that? Like healing wise, how did you take care of your mental health from that?
The very first thing that I did was educate myself, because when you're getting through a relationship like that, you're confused. So you literally go down the rabbit hole of like books, YouTube videos, learning from other people of like, what the hell just happened here? Like what happened?
You get
And so-
confused, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I like submerged myself in a lot of educative material, trying to figure out what happened. And then once I was able to pinpoint like, oh, this was narcissistic abuse, I did a lot of journaling, like heavy journaling, a lot of crying. I was
Yeah.
in bed. There was a lot of days where I couldn't get out of bed. And it wasn't it wasn't sadness over losing him because I needed to lose him, but it was more so like losing myself and then trying to find myself again. So it like literally every day it was educating myself, a lot of crying, a lot of journaling, going out into nature. And then honestly, for me, a big part of the healing process was I did a podcast and I talked about narcissistic abuse. And that just kind of opened up the segue for me to like really start the healing process. Just talking about it.
Just talking about it, opening up about it, and then maybe helping others as you're opening up about it. That's really cool. Yeah. Well, cheers to overcoming that. For sure. Yeah.
Cheers to that. Because that was hard.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. I mean, I have a little bit of experience too, but I'm not going to get into it right now. But it does, like I said, it drains you. And it's almost like they gaslight you. That ties hand in hand with the narcissistic. Like they gaslight you, make it seem like, oh, no matter what the problem is, oh, it's your fault, you're dumb, or oh, like what's your problem? You're crazy, you know. It's insane. It's insane.
It's really bad. And for me, he would tell me like, nothing happened. What are you talking about?
Yeah, nothing happened.
And I would be like, are you like, am I crazy? Am I going crazy? I know that he just yelled at me, but the gaslight is so intense that you're just you start to second guess yourself like, that didn't happen. Maybe I am going crazy. And when they do that over and over and over and over, it really takes a toll on your mental health.
And then sometimes you think, oh, it's going to get better. They're growing and it's going to get better. And then it doesn't. It's like a broken record. It just keeps. Like
it'll never get better.
Never get better.
Ever.
It'll get worse. Yeah. And how long were you in that relationship for?
A year.
A year. Okay. That's, I mean, a full year. Some people are in it for longer. And it's,
for like 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah. And you came out with this book when?
I came out with the book 2 years ago now. Was it 2 years ago? Yes.
Nice.
October of 2021. And honestly, I had no intentions of writing a book. But like I said, I did that podcast. And the day that the podcast was supposed to come out, I like cried my eyes out and I told my friend, do not release this podcast. She's like, I'm still doing it. And so I like cried to God and I'm like, I can't do this. I don't want to share this story. This is too much. And God was like, do it anyways. And so I was like, say less. And then like a week later, I was just inspired. I started writing and I wrote the book in 13 days. Like
Whoa.
It was like, he was like coming through me on the computer and I just like got it all out.
Was that the shortest time that you've written a book? In literally less than 2 weeks?
It was about 13 days that I wrote it. And even then I was still questioning like, are you sure that you want me to release this book? And it was like, yes. And that opened up so many doors for me. And not only was when I launched it, not only was I helping people heal, but it's so interesting because I would even get like men in my inbox that would be like, you're our voice because as men we can't speak up, you know.
Right.
Women tend to go through this, so men usually don't say anything, but there was a lot of men that go through it too.
Do you think it's like a certain stereotype, like, oh, men are supposed to be strong and they can't open up about it, you know?
Well, or you know, domestic violence, they tend to believe the woman. If you call the cops, they tend to believe the woman over the man. So yeah, a lot of men were like, thank you for speaking up. Like you give us hope. And I was just overwhelmed with like, oh my God, this is crazy. There's a lot of people that go through it and don't say anything.
I'm sure you got an insane, overwhelming amount of praise for writing this book. Yeah. Yeah. Explain that. Explain how you felt getting these messages from people that you've probably helped out. Explain how you were feeling from that.
It's overwhelming, but in a good way. Of like I said, I didn't want to speak about these things. You didn't want to, but it was very clear to me that I had an assignment. I had to do that. And I didn't understand why, but then when I would hear people and they would message me, when they would contact me, I had like news stations wanting to talk to me. And for me, it felt like I wasn't doing it for me or for me to like get back at someone and like, oh, I'm going to write this book about you. It wasn't that. It was like, I felt like I had an assignment to do and I fulfilled it.
That's good.
And it's like, okay, now on to the next thing.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. And then after that, you wrote a children's book?
Yeah, I wrote a children's book.
What's the name of that?
It's called The Soul in Me Sees the Soul in You.
Ooh, nice. What's that about?
So I love children that are nonverbal, autistic, Down syndrome. I believe that they just have these beautiful souls.
Awesome.
And I wanted to write a book just to let them know that we see you guys. And even though you can't speak to us or communicate, love is still the universal language of the world. And so I just want to write something for them.
That's awesome. Yeah. Fun fact, I actually work with autistic and Down syndrome clients of mine.
Very cool.
Yeah, I've been doing that for 5 years now. So, and right after this, that's where I'm going.
How cool is that?
Yeah, it's so cool. And they're all so different, but in a good way. They're all unique. They all have their own things that they like. They're very intelligent.
I believe they're more intelligent than we are.
Yeah.
Because they are able to operate in a different plane than we do, and they don't care about the things that we care, like fashion, people pleasing and all these things. They just live life, and I think they're more intelligent than us sometimes.
They just live, and sometimes, you know what's funny? Sometimes I get jealous. It's like they just live life. They don't really, they're just in the moment, They're just in the moment. They seem to be happy, a lot of them. My clients, they seem to be happy. They get so excited when they see me, and I'm like, oh, this is so rewarding, Mm-hmm. My client that I'm seeing right after this, he loves going to anime conventions. So that's where I'm going with him at the Phoenix Convention Center, and he gets all dressed up, and he dresses up as a ninja. So he loves dressing up as a ninja and going to these things and cosplaying, taking pictures of other cosplayers with them. It's so cool. It's so cool watching that, actually.
And what is it that you do?
I do 3 different levels of care. I do respite, habilitation, and then for the higher functioning clients, I actually help them at their actual jobs. So if they need help with, for example, at a grocery store, if they're working at a grocery store, got to make sure they're bagging right or doing the carts right or making sure they're paying attention to what to do or listening to their coworkers, stuff like that. So
it's like ABA therapy a little bit.
Kinda.
Yeah, like life skills and
stuff. Yeah.
That's very cool.
Very rewarding. So yeah, that's cool that you wrote that book. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When did that come out?
In January.
Of this year?
January or February, I don't remember. Yeah, this year.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah.
So from what I understand, you've always wanted to be a writer growing up your whole life, and you did it. You're doing it now. Yeah.
Yep.
What do you think made that you?
I don't know, honestly. I've always written stories, and I've always been a creative, but ever since I was like 9, I would tell my parents, I'm going to be an author. I'm going to write a book. And that's like all that I would ever talk about when I was little. Mm-hmm. And it's weird because like little kids will talk about like, I want to be a teacher. I want to be a doctor. And then there's me. I'm a weird little girl talking about, I want to be an author.
Yeah.
And then just like my whole life, that's what I would talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And I made it happen. So
that's so cool. Yeah. That's so cool. Congrats on that.
Thank you.
Yeah. What's the future of Janine look like? What does that look like for you?
Definitely, I'm going to continue to write books. Right now, it's focusing on scaling my book publishing business. Mm-hmm. And then we started to do documentaries. So I've started to produce and direct documentaries for our authors. So really taking that to the next level as well.
What kind of documentaries?
Just documentaries on them and their life and why they chose to write a book.
Oh, nice.
And how they became an author. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So maybe a documentary about you too?
Maybe one day. I definitely need to do one.
Yeah.
One day. We'll see.
One day, yeah. That'd be cool. And also, I wanted to backtrack a little bit. I also saw that you guys did a little music video for
the book.
For the book that we were talking about you overcoming the narcissistic abuse.
Yes. So that was very interesting. I had this vision that I was going to have this specific rapper from my hometown, Perth Amboy, New Jersey. He was going to write a song for me that would correlate to my book. And the day that I envisioned that I was going to reach out to him, and he put out a message to everyone and said, I quit rapping. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what? Like in my mind, I'm like, I know that I got this divine message from somewhere, and now you're telling me you're quit. You know what I mean? So I just kind of let it go. And about a month later, all I did was reach out to him. I'm like, hey, I know that you quote unquote quit rapping, but I have this project. I wrote a book. It's about narcissistic abuse. I really, really would love if you would just write a song for me. And honestly, or even just do 16 bars. I don't need a whole song.
Yeah.
And I just want it to be the soundtrack of the book. And within one day, he came back with a full song. And
got it done quick.
He got it done quick. Yeah. And then we were like, let's do a music video. And we did. And so even that was just amazing because it opened up a lot of other doors. Like a lot of people were watching it and relating to it. And that was the first time that I got to act. I had never acted before. I never had interest in it. But after doing that music video, I was like, oh, I like this.
You really had to hone in to that acting in that video, yeah.
But I had been through it, so I know, you know what I mean? It was easy. And yeah, it was a cool experience.
Was it weird channeling that, almost kind of reliving those feelings?
Some of them, yeah.
For the video?
We have a scene where the guy is like yelling at me. And yeah, I was struggling a little bit, but yeah, it was cool.
That's awesome. Yeah. Any thing similar to that coming along in the future?
No music videos right now, but yeah, we're working on a documentary at the end of this month. So I'll be flying back to New Jersey to shoot that. So I'm excited.
Yeah. So you ran into someone that you know actually before we started recording, and she's part of your book publishing academy. Yeah. So can you explain a little bit about what she's written?
So she's still working on her book. I know that she writes poetry. She's a part of my academy. She's still working on it. But it's just so interesting because I've run into her 2 or 3 times in random places like that.
Yeah, that's so not planned.
Yeah, not planned. And it's like, what are you doing? Oh, girl. And then we're matching. How cool is that?
Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah. So explain more about your book publishing academy. So what do you do with that? Because you're the founder of it.
Yes.
Yeah. So how do you help people in that realm?
So my book publishing academy, I first got started off doing one-to-one coaching. And right before the pandemic, I had this very intuitive pull that I needed to do online group coaching. Gotcha. So I started to shift, and then the pandemic happened. So it worked out perfectly because a lot of businesses were going out of business, and my business was going into business. Like everyone was at home bored and wanted to write a book. So it just took off, like way faster than I expected. And what we do is we have online courses that teach them how to fully write, publish, launch their book, build their brand, figure out the business aspect of it as well. And it's over 75 videos. It comes with a workbook. We do group coaching. I have a yearly conference. We do author appreciation dinners.
Awesome.
It's just a community of authors, and they're all publishing.
Awesome. So. And I'm sure it's just growing and growing and growing, right?
It is.
That is so cool. Yeah. How many people do you have signed up?
We currently have about 80 right now.
80. That's a good amount. Yeah. Congrats on that. Well, cheers to that too. Yeah.
Thank you. I never expected, like, I didn't grow up thinking, oh, I'm going to teach people how to do this. But people always reach out to me and they're like, I want to do what you're doing. And I'm like, okay, so this is the amount. And then it just grew into this.
So what do you personally like reading yourself?
I like self-help books.
Self-help books?
Mostly self-help books.
There are a lot of them are really, I bought the Jay Shetty book, Think Like a Monk.
Is it good?
I haven't read it yet, and I was in the middle of wanting to read it. And it's funny because I was living with someone that ties into what we were talking about and couldn't read it at that time, and I need to get to it because I really have been wanting to read it for a long time. So yeah, I love just self-help books. I love autobiographies, all that. They're my favorite books to read. Yeah.
And a lot of people think like self-help is like, because I don't know, they think a weird stigma about it, but I'm like, they're like amazing. They're good for personal development.
Yeah.
I enjoy those type of books. They make me better.
They do, yeah. So that's what you like to read is mainly self-help books. That's really cool. How many do you own?
Oh.
Do you have like a whole bookshelf?
No, I'm telling you, I'm a book hoarder. Like I have probably 50 books that I haven't read yet that are just sitting there waiting for me to read
That
them.
would stress me out.
I just keep ordering more. So, and then I have them like in storage. Like I'm that weird person that I'm like, if there's a fire, the first thing I'm grabbing is my books. Like,
wow.
That's me.
Do you have pets?
I don't.
I was about to say, you'd grab your books over your pet?
Probably.
The books are your babies.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I only have maybe 10 or 15 books I haven't read yet, but imagine having 50 that you haven't read yet or more.
I don't know. That makes me feel good. I'm like, I got books.
You got like a lifetime of books ready to be read.
Yeah.
That's so cool. And are they all self-help books or?
Some of them. Some are business books.
Business books,
Mm-hmm.
cool. So you've written 4 books total.
7.
7.
Yeah, 7
nice. Nice. And the latest one was the one we were talking about, the kid book.
Mm-hmm.
What was your first one?
It's called Through My Eyes. It's a poetry book.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And when did that come out?
That came out in 2015. But that one, I actually started writing it when I was like 12. It's like poetry.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Since you were 12.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my gosh. So you were obviously, since the very beginning, you were into writing. That's so crazy.
I actually started my parents wanted to help me get published. And I would always tell them I don't want to go through a traditional publisher because I don't want people to tell me what to do.
Yeah.
I don't want people to put me in a contract and tell me how I'm going to build my business. So, and then self-publishing in the 90s was a little difficult. We didn't have what we have now. It wasn't so easy.
I can't imagine back then.
So, it kind of sat for a very long time until I was in my 20s. And then I finally was like, okay, let's do this.
That is so cool. Yeah. I'm sure back then, I don't even know what you had to do back then to really.
I know.
Can you imagine?
Because the internet was barely starting. So it's not like you could Google a printing company. You'd have to pull out that yellow book, right?
Yeah, I know the yellow book.
I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
Then the internet started like truly kicking off 2000, 2001, 2002, around that time period. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. I can imagine. Just, internet and technology in itself just makes everything so much more easier now.
Yeah, it definitely does.
And you guys are editing these with AI now too, which is crazy.
I love it. It's cool.
Yeah. So what's the longest book you have written?
The Light in Times of Darkness.
Okay, I'm sure there's a lot to take in that. Yeah.
There's a lot that came out of that book. Yeah, that's my longest book.
And you said you were crying in the middle of.
It was therapeutic, honestly. Like I just got it all out. But I wrote the book in a way where I'm not bashing anyone. It's more so educational of like, this is educating people on what narcissistic abuse is. And yeah, I shared my story, but I still protected, even as crazy as it sounds, I protected my abuser. I did not say names.
No name drop.
Yeah, no name drop. And there was certain situations where I didn't expose the full, like I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Because the intent is not to bash him. It's more so to educate people.
Do you think he's opened your book and read it?
Oh, I'm pretty sure.
Do you? He really? Wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm curious how he felt if he did.
Oh, I don't care. Honestly, and that was something that I was scared of at the beginning was defamation of character. I was so afraid that I would write this and he would come after me somehow. And then I just woke up one day and I was like, I'll get the best lawyer. Come at me. And
come at me, try me.
And because I was like, well, this is my truth. This is the truth. This is what happened. And so I was like, F it, we gonna write the book. And if he comes after me, I'm gonna get the best lawyer, and that's it.
Yeah, honestly, plain and simple.
Yeah.
So you say you've been featured on numerous channels, CBS, NBC, right? What was that like going on those stations and talking about you and what you do with being an author?
Nerve-wracking.
How nerve-wracking was that? Yeah.
It was actually it's like a blessing of like, oh my God, you believe in me? You want to interview me? You know what I mean? Like, and almost in shock and like, I don't know. It was just a cool experience. My first time, because I've been featured a couple times. My first time, I was just shocked. I was like, oh my God, I need to find an outfit. I got to get my makeup done. And
I'm sure there was a lot you were thinking about.
Yeah,
going
and then
into it.
I need to practice. I was like practicing with my mom, like ask me questions just in case, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was really cool. And then I took my son and we took pictures over there. And then we went and had breakfast afterwards. So, but I have done it a couple times. So it's rewarding. It's cool.
The first time you did it, was it anything like you expected going to the studio and being interviewed on TV?
Honestly, I didn't know what to expect, but I will say that it's quick. It's like you get in, they mic you up, and then once they don't even say, "Hey, we're starting." It's kind of like, and they just start talking, and you're like, "Oh,"
wow,
and you're like, "Which camera am I looking at?" You know, you get confused.
Coming at you fast.
And then it's like 3 minutes, and then they're like, "All right, thanks, bye," and you're just like, "Oh, that was it." Like it's fast, and then they move on to other things. You know, they have like the news and all stuff, and I'm like, okay.
I mean, so with TV, everything has to be fast. I'm sure, because they're on a time schedule.
It's an experience. Like I didn't expect all of that. Yeah.
That's awesome. So what do your kids think of you doing all of this? I'm sure they're very proud of you. Yeah.
He's very proud of me. He's also
How many kids do you have?
I have one.
You have one. Okay.
He just turned 15 and he's a little entrepreneur himself. He's always like, "How can I make money? What can I do? How can I help you?" And even the other day, he's going to be helping me with a project. And I was like, "So how much are you going to charge me?" And he's like, "Well, how much are you getting paid? And then I'll let you know the percentage."
There you go.
He's like, "We'll negotiate." And I'm like, "Excuse you?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "I learned from you." And so he's learning a lot from me. And then he's very proud of me, but he's also like, I was like, "Why don't you follow me on Instagram?" And he's like, "'Cause all my friends, they love you and they stalk your page." And he's like, "So I stopped following you so nobody could find you." And I'm like, okay.
"Oh, he's protecting you."
I was like, "All right."
That's funny.
But yeah, so
he's learning young too from you, like being an entrepreneur, trying to get into that field. That's cool. What other questions does he ask you in regards to what does he want to do? Do you know what he wants to do yet?
He doesn't know yet.
He doesn't know.
But he's really good he's like really smart. And so like I would say like 2 years ago, he was doing like graphic design during the pandemic. He was doing like graphic design for kids that do the gaming stuff on social media.
Oh, I'm sure there's a lot of business in that.
So he was doing that, and then he was making money. Like people were depositing in his account. I opened him a little bank account, and then
have him pay rent.
He got bored with it. He's just like, "I'm not passionate." And I'm like, "But you can make money." And he's just like, "Eh." And I'm like, "All right." So I think he's still trying to figure it out. But in the meantime, I give him work. Like he'll be like, "Can I make some money?" And I'm like, "Sure." And I'll teach him stuff. And
well, school's out too.
Yeah.
So
right now he's actually he's gonna start editing my videos.
Cool.
And then I was teaching him like accounting one time. Wow. And I'm like, "Can you help me enter these receipts and stuff?" And he's like, "Okay." And like, so I was just teaching him. But
that's awesome. Yeah. So he's going to be editing your videos all summer long. Awesome.
I'll probably have him do my social media too.
Cool. Yeah. I'm sure he'll love that. Yeah. That's so funny that he doesn't follow you though, just to protect you. Yeah.
He's funny.
Yeah. So we talked previously or prior to this interview, you just celebrated a birthday. 36.
36.
Nice. What did you do on your birthday?
Oh, I had the best day ever. I wanted to make it a point this year to, I guess transparent moment. I believe that in previous years, I've always depended on external, whatever it may be, like other people for my happiness. And this year I was like, screw everybody else. I'm just going to have a great day. And so I decided to spend the day by myself. Not anyone else but me. And I was going to do whatever I wanted. And so
that's so cool.
I went and ate lunch. I went to like this store that sells like 90s t-shirts, and I got a 90s t-shirt. Made me happy. I went for a massage. I took myself to a fancy dinner in Scottsdale with a nice drink. And then on the way home, I ended up in the Indian reservation, like in the middle of the desert, and I just blasted 80s music and watched the sunset, and that was my birthday, and I had the best time ever.
That sounds magical, honestly. That's my ideal birthday.
It was awesome. And and even my mom was like, "Are you gonna pick up your son?" I'm like, "Nope, he's gonna stay with his dad. I'm gonna enjoy my day." And I had a great day by myself.
That is so cool.
Yeah, it was good.
Man, honestly, the last 2 or 3 birthdays for me have been so not fun at all. So I feel like something like that, not relying on people, is something I need to do for my birthday.
Yeah, because I think sometimes we make plans and then maybe someone doesn't show up or somebody says something to hurt your feeling, and it's like, it's your day, enjoy it. Like,
it's your day. This only comes once a year to celebrate your day. Do whatever you want, right? Yeah. Do you think you'll have that same mindset going into next year?
Yes.
I feel like everybody needs that, where they just take a vacation by themselves or just a full day just by themselves to reflect on everything and just enjoy your own company. You know what I'm saying?
And I do that often. Like, I'll take myself to dinner. I go to the movies by myself, but like a whole day, and especially my birthday.
Oh, yeah.
You know, everyone's like, oh, what are you doing? Are you going to do dinner with the friends? And I'm like, nope.
Nope.
Me.
There you go. I usually, my comfort food is Raisin Cane's, so I'll just go there by myself and just eat Raisin Cane's. Not all the time, because it's not the best to eat it all the time, because it's fried food, but at least once a week, once every 2 weeks, I'll make it a point to go to Raisin Cane's, sit by myself, and enjoy their chicken, fries, everything. It's relaxing, actually, because it's my comfort food. So it's like, you know what, this makes me feel good. I'm going to do it. Yeah. So do you have a comfort food?
I don't know that it's so much comfort food, but I love to go to like specific bars that I can play 80s music, and I'll just have like a drink and listen to 80s music with all the old people, and I'm good.
With all the old people, yeah.
Well, they're all older than me usually. They're usually like 70, 80-year-olds listening to like classic 80s, 70s music, and I'm like the youngest one there playing all the songs.
That's so cool.
That's my jam.
You love 80s music a lot, huh? What do you like about 80s music?
Everything.
It's just very nostalgic. Yeah, just the sound of it. It's different. Like each decade has their own sound, I feel. And I feel like the 80s in particular is just, it hits you differently, in my opinion.
And I don't know. I love like classic 80s rock music.
Yes.
Like Journey and Whitesnake and
and Aerosmith in there too. They were around
Bon
in the 80s.
Jovi
Bon Jovi, yeah. David Bowie even, you know. Tears for Fears.
Tears for Fears are one of my favorites.
Everybody wants to rule the world.
Yeah, but I that's my jam. Like, it doesn't matter what food I'm eating. If I'm just at the bar with a little drink and I'm listening to that music, I'm good.
Are you a Madonna fan?
No.
No. You're not like a pop 80s?
I am. Like, I like Pat Benatar, but Cyndi Lauper, but not so much Madonna.
Yeah.
She's all right.
I personally, I mean, yeah, she's the queen of pop, but I have never been a fan of her either. I feel like she's a little overrated, but that's just me. Yeah. And she's still doing music too to this day. I think she's coming out with a new song with, and I might have this wrong because I just saw her when I was half asleep this morning. I think she's coming out with a new song with Travis Scott and someone else, which is interesting. And The Weeknd. I know The Weeknd and Madonna are in the song, but there's someone else featured in it.
She's been dabbling in the hip hop world recently. It's very interesting.
Yeah. It's been, that's crazy. She's trying to, fit in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you sing at all?
No.
You don't sing at all? You don't even try?
No.
Do you just act? If there is a chance, you'll just act.
Yeah.
In certain things.
Yeah. I want to get into more acting.
Yeah. So even when you listen to music, you don't sing along to the music?
Oh, yeah. But
you'll sing along.
Sing for other people? Oh, you know.
Yeah, I'm sure that, I can't even imagine that either. That's nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
How do you feel, because you've spoken in front of people. Are you nervous when you do that, like standing in front of people and speaking?
I think I used to be when I first got started, but I just got over that fear.
Yeah.
I kind of get very passionate too. Like, everything that I do is with passion and like intentional and intuitive. And so when I talk to people, I don't know, you forget about stuff, about the nerves and all that. Because
you're in it, like you're in the moment too. When was the last time you did speak in front of people?
I don't remember. Probably at my book launch event.
Your book launch event? Yeah. That's so cool.
It's been a while.
So how do you handle, when you did get nervous, how did you handle that, speaking in front of people?
You do it anyways.
You just do it.
Yeah, you just have to do it. I mean, yeah, or you could sit in the back of the room with everybody else not doing nothing.
That's
or you could just get up and overcome your fear and do it anyways.
That's true. For me, I get more nervous if there's less people in the crowd. rather than a whole wide of people in the crowd. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because if there's more people, like, well, I don't know. I have this thing that, like, nobody's going to know if you mess up anyways, but...
Only you would, yeah. Only
But
you
I get
would.
it. If it's, like, 3 people, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
like,
I was like that in school. I'm like, I don't like talking in front of 15 people. It's because you could feel their eyes on you and you could feel them almost judging you too. And I prefer just a whole big audience instead. Yeah. Because I remember when I first did interviews, it was like my first time ever. And it was at this event center. And there was, granted, they were like mainly my closest friends and whatever, and friends that brought their friends. And there was about 10 or 15 people like sitting down watching, and I interviewed 5 or 6 people that day. And I was up there and I'm like, this is a little nerve-wracking because I could literally feel everyone watching me, but it also helped that there was someone there with me that I was just talking to. So a lot of the eyes was on the person I was interviewing anyway. So I tried to put that into perspective. I'm like, they're not really there to see me. They're there to see who I'm interviewing. So, and that helped a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's repetition. If you just do it over and over, eventually it's like second nature.
Yeah. Just do it over and over. Yeah, for sure. So, with that said, how have you, what have you learned from when you first started publishing your first book to now, to your most recent book? What have you learned during that process?
You're going to make mistakes, so make them fast so that you can learn. Also, what I've learned, and I think this is just in business, in running my business, is you have to be consistent and show up every single day. Because there's people that maybe show up once a week or even like, okay, I'll meet authors and they're like, I'm not making any sales. Can you tell me why? And I'm like, well, the last time that you posted on social media was like 2 weeks ago. You know, and it's like
2 weeks is a long time if you
yeah.
don't post on social media.
And so it's like you have to show up every single day. And the days that you want to quit, you still got to show up. And it's I think it's like a slow progress is still progress, but I think people think that it's going to happen overnight, and it doesn't. Like, if you look at me and where I started back in 2015, you can see the evolution. I actually posted about that today on social media of where I was in 2015 to where I am now. But they expect it to happen overnight, and it's like, no, this took 8 years. And I'm not even scratching the surface yet. You know what I mean?
Like a lot of grind and hard work, yeah. A lot of people expect it to be overnight, like, oh, it's going to come quick. It has to come quick because a lot of people are impatient, you know, and they don't understand.
Quit too soon.
They quit too soon. They don't understand the work in between what it takes to get to where someone is, you know. And then also it takes a lot of work to maintain where you're at and to keep growing and growing and growing. So
it takes a lot of hard work. You have to do a lot of work on yourself internally in order to grow and scale a business. Because if you're not right in the mindset and you're not continuously growing, and I mean like in all, like mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, all of it, you'll stay stagnant. It'll show in your work.
Yeah. What mistakes have you made?
Oh, I made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
I've lost money. As far as like my books, like I've made mistakes where I'm like, oh, there's a typo. I've had to reprint another 100 books.
Oh my God.
I don't know, just a lot. And many of them, I can't even think off the top of my head.
Do you ever get down on yourself when, especially a mistake like that, where you make a typo and you have to like read?
No. Because it's a part of the process.
Yeah.
But I make the mistakes because, like I said, I'm coaching authors. So that's why I tell them, like, I've made the mistakes. So that's why now I get to teach you so that you don't make the same mistakes.
There you go.
And it doesn't take you 10 years. It'll take you like 3 years maybe. You know what I mean? Like,
it's all about learning and growing from those mistakes. Yeah.
I've made financial mistakes where, you know, you're running a business and you don't really know what the hell you're doing. And so you have to learn. Like I'm learning right now, personal and business finances and you make a lot of mistakes. And so, but you have to learn and you have to have people that are going to teach you these things.
Have you ever made a mistake like posting on social media or anything like that?
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
Then you just delete it or re-edit or yeah.
So what do you think is more important actually on social media? Someone being consistent posting a lot on social media, whether it's Instagram or whatever, or if they wait a certain amount of time to make what I'm trying to say is quality over quantity. So what if like someone, for example, they're just posting just a post, but a lot of times there's not a lot of meaning behind the posts, but what if they're just waiting to have a better meaning behind the post? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I think
Yeah.
neither.
Neither.
I think posting every day, but then you're giving shitty content.
Yeah,
like,
you could
that's
cuss, by the
not-
way.
Yeah, that's not like good job, but no.
No, yeah.
And then if you're only posting once a week or once every other week, but it's great quality, it's going to take you a lot longer to get people to notice it, especially with the algorithm.
The algorithm stuff.
So I think you have to put consistent daily action every single day. And
Kind of roll your eyes with
and
them.
give value because it's tiring.
It's tiring,
and give
yeah.
value and then also be patient because you just never know. It could be one post that just, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. The one post, to really kickstart something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A lot of posts, and it's so weird with the algorithm too. If someone doesn't post a lot, one post could get a lot of likes, and then the next time you post, it's like, whoa, I got this amount of likes on this one post, but then I'm not getting anything here. And it's the same with stories too, I've noticed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You'll get 100 views on this one story and then like two on the next one. Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, okay, whatever. I'll just keep posting and posting and posting. It's all about consistency. So
yeah. Same with TikTok. It's like one of mine has over 100,000 views. The other one has like 200.
that's so weird.
But you got to keep going every single day. You just got to put content out there.
I've been thinking about the whole TikTok thing, but I mean, I have one. It's just, do I really want to post on there? And I don't know how to use it that well. And I don't know.
It's awesome.
Does it help a lot?
It's awesome because you go live on Instagram, you'll only get the people that follow you. So you might get, depending on how many followers you get, you might get 10 to like 100 people on the live. If you go on TikTok, it's thousands. There's people that don't follow you that will just hop into your live and they'll comment, they'll ask you, they'll DM you.
Yeah.
So
I remember I posted 1 or 2 videos from past interviews I've done on TikTok. And a lot of them, and I don't even really have any followers on TikTok because I just made it. But those 2 videos that I posted from past interviews, they got a lot of views and likes. And I'm like, whoa, okay. Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised by that.
And it's all people that don't even follow you.
Yeah, a lot of people that don't even follow you. Some of them will after they see your video, but a lot of them, it's like, whoa, they don't even follow me. And then they'll comment and everything. It's like, whoa, TikTok. And that's why I've been thinking more so lately, I need to maybe start posting on TikTok again and be more consistent with that, because then maybe those followers will transfer over to your Instagram and other social medias. So
it's really just repurposing content. That's what I do.
It really is. Yeah. So do you ever do audio? So like, do you read your book and put it in audio format?
Yeah, I've done it for one of my books, The Light in Times of Darkness.
Yeah.
It was cool.
We just keep circling back to that book, huh?
it was cool.
Yeah.
It was a process. It was interesting, like doing an audio book in the same tone of voice. So it gets very tiring in your tummy area, like you're like talking. And I do get sales from it, which is awesome. But would I do it again? Probably not. I'd probably
What's
hire
the process
a narrator.
like? Is it all day, or is it obviously more than a day?
So you can, but I think like for me, I would get tired after an hour of talking. I think my book was like 8 hours. Wow. So I did it in a week. I did an hour every day. But yeah, after like a half hour of talking in a specific tone, like you feel it in your tummy, like in your tummy muscles, and your tummy muscles, and your voice, you're like crackling and like so.
Sometimes you have to restart. And,
So it was an experience.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't do it again. I'd probably hire someone to just do it for me. That's a professional.
That would probably be better. I mean, take the time off your hands and do something else. Yeah. From what I understand, you do this full time now, right? What did you do prior?
I was in HR. I was doing human resources.
Gotcha. Okay. How did you like that?
I loved it because I love that there's a problem, I can fix it.
That you can fix it.
I can fix it. And also, there's something about employees saying, we hate this workplace. And it's like, well, how can I make it better? Yeah. What can I do to make this a better workplace? But in HR, you are competing with higher up level CEOs who don't care about the culture of a company and care more so of just about the money.
Money
and
hungry.
The bottom line. And so for me, I am fulfilled when I know that I'm making a difference. And when there's someone that's not allowing me to make that difference because their vision is more money hungry, then to me, it was just, yeah.
Why are people like that? Like they just
care
about the money over someone's. I get it too.
Because I'm a business owner, so I understand like we have quotas to hit, but I also want to make sure my employees feel great. Yeah.
I mean, it's all about finding that balance, I feel.
Yeah.
Instead of just, this money, like someone being this money hungry. It's like, okay, come on. You got to care about the people too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just I woke up one day, literally it happened like this. I woke up one day and I was like, what do you love to do? And when I thought about it, it was books. It was like, okay, so then do that.
Do what you love, and it's not considered a job.
Yeah. And so within 6 months, I quit. So.
And you obviously built up enough money to where you can quit, and then you could start doing this full time, and then.
Not really.
Not really. You just took the
jump.
Not
really,
you took the leap.
Honestly. And I did have a little bit, but not like massive amounts. And so I took the leap, and but I never had to struggle really.
That's good.
Like I said, my academy took off like right around that pandemic time, and it just I don't know.
It's treated you well.
God's always protected me.
Yeah. What was life growing up for you?
Fun. I grew up in New Jersey. It was fun in the 90s.
In the 90s.
We were always outside.
In New Jersey in the 90s, yeah.
Yeah, we were always outside. My memories, I lived on a street called Patterson Street. Everyone was always outside. You hear music playing, people outside playing dominoes or whatever. There's fights at the corner store.
There's fights at the corner store.
That was my block.
There you go.
It was fun. Like, we had fun.
Did you ever get in a fight?
All the time.
All the time? Really? Wow, okay, wow. How many fights? How many fights did you win?
I don't know that I've ever lost, but I don't know that I've ever, like, beat someone up. But I don't know, like 5?
Do you remember, like, the reasons behind some of your fights?
It's always, she said this, you know.
Yeah, just that stuff.
No, but also, like, I'm short. I'm little, so I've had people that will talk crap about me or say things or, like, I don't want to say bullying, but kind of, because they think that I'm not going to say nothing, and it's like, oh, I'm going to say something.
Do you think they were picking on you because of your height, because you were short?
I do think that has a factor because, like I said, they think that, oh, she's little, she's not going to defend herself.
She's not going to do shit.
But, I am. I promise you, I'm going to say something.
And you proved it.
Yeah. So there was some fun times.
The good old days, huh?
The good old days.
Why did you move here in Arizona?
My parents, they wanted to leave New Jersey and give us a better life. They brought us here.
Less fights, right?
Less fights. I actually got in more fights here.
Oh, wow.
But
how old were you when you moved here?
14.
14, okay. Oh, yeah, so you were growing up teenage years.
Well, because think about it. You grew up in New Jersey, like New York area. Everybody got an attitude. Yeah. And then you moved to Arizona. Everybody's nice.
They are.
But if they're not nice, they do it in a discreet way, and it's like, nah, I'm here. Like, what's up? You know? And so I was that kind of girl.
Yeah.
And
that's the thing about Arizonans.
I was always in trouble.
Yeah.
But yeah, my parents, they just wanted to give us a better life, and I'm so grateful that they did because I love it here.
Yeah.
I would not leave.
Do you have any siblings?
I have 3.
3 siblings. Wow. Are they brother, sister?
I have a sister, 2 brothers.
Nice. Did they ever like defend you if you ever got in a fight? Were you ever around them whenever you did get in a fight?
My brother saw me once, but they were also like, it was all of us.
Yeah,
it was a collective. But yeah, no, that's just how we grew up.
That's just how you grew up.
I wouldn't change it. But like people can tell, like, oh, she's not from here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So back, I mean, it was normal for you growing
It
up
was
in
normal.
that.
Now at my age, I'm not getting no damn fight.
Yeah.
I ain't got time for that.
How about your kid? Has your kid ever gotten in a fight?
Yes, he's a soccer player, so they be fighting on the soccer.
Oh, they get
field.
aggressive.
They do.
Yeah.
He be getting fights in soccer, and I'm like, yeah.
And very athletic too. You got to really stay in shape to play soccer. You really do. I feel like soccer and basketball, because you're just running constantly, and you got to play defense and offense. You got to really be in shape for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does he do other sports?
No, just soccer.
Just soccer. Also, he's passionate about soccer.
That's it.
Awesome. So, describe the difference between Arizona and New Jersey. Like, what was Arizona like after you left? What school did you go to here?
Here, well, because see, that's the thing is that I was always getting in trouble, so I went to a lot of high schools.
So you got kicked out?
Yeah. I went to Mountain View. I
View.
went to another one. I don't remember the name of it. Skyline. And then they put me in an alternative school, which I don't remember the name of it.
Okay. Skyline.
I think I went to 4 high schools.
4 high schools. Okay, yeah. I remember because I went to Red Mountain. Red Mountain didn't like Skyline. Yeah. There was always, especially like on...
Oh, yeah. We were like enemies.
Enemies, yeah, especially in football, when it was like football day, football games. Whenever Red Mountain faced Skyline, it was always kind of like a big event. I'm like, okay. I mean, I never got into it, but I was just to myself. I never got in any fights, so I always try to keep to myself. It was better off that way, you know. But I wasn't a good student. For some reason, I struggled. I always got D's, C's, couple F's. Hide my progress reports and report cards from my parents. So
I think I was like a C student.
C.
I'm smart.
Yeah.
But I also I have a problem with like people like I don't know the word. I guess when you go to school it's like structured. And it's like I'm more of a creative and free. And it's like, why do I have to sit in a classroom when I could go out in nature or go to Egypt and learn myself?
That's yourself.
That's how my thought process is.
Yeah.
So, and then I questioned everything. So I would be in class like questioning, well, why? Why is that? And yeah, they didn't like me too much.
And plus, you already knew what you wanted to do your whole life. And when I was in high school, I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a journalist or an interviewer, because my main inspiration was Larry King. I love it. I love Larry King. Man, you know he's been married 9 times. He was married 9 times. Twice to the same woman.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and he died 2 years ago. He didn't leave his wife anything, his latest wife anything. Yeah.
Did he leave a previous wife something?
Well, I mean, he had 8 previous wives, so I don't know. I don't think he did. I think he just wanted everything for his 2 kids. Oh, yeah. That's good though. So it was cool. Like, obviously, I grew up idolizing Larry King, and after he retired from his CNN show, which CNN was never the same after Larry King left. Let's just be real. He had his own show on the internet, Aura.tv, Larry King Now, and you know he would take fan questions and all that, and I would always submit fan questions to him. And the first time he used my question, it was with 50 Cent. And then he said my name. He's like, Austin Kelly asks. And I was like, what? Because I wasn't expecting it. I would just watch his interviews for fun.
Did you have it recorded?
I have. I made a full collage because he used my question over 24 times with different guests.
I love it.
With Carlton from Fresh Prince, all these other guests. And it was so cool. And there was one time where he was interviewing Dennis Miller. He's a comedian. And he says, and he never says this at all. Like if someone submitted a question, he never says this. He's like, Austin Kelly asked. And then he's like, this is a good question. I'm like, oh my God. He says, this is a good question. I asked him like, oh, what's the difference between late night talk show hosts or late night talk shows now compared to 20 years ago? And he thought that was a good question. And obviously now it's more political compared to like when it was just strictly comedy back in the 90s, 2000s, even early 2010s. So, and Dennis Miller's like, oh, it's just, more political and you got to stick to that or otherwise, because that's the ratings now. People want to hear what you have to say about all these politicians, especially when Trump took office. Everyone wanted to hear what the late night host would talk about with Trump. So it's like, okay, that makes sense. We need to get those ratings. And when he died, when Larry King died, I messaged his producer for the Larry King Now show. And she was like, "Oh my gosh, Austin Kelly, I recognize your name. He always appreciated your questions that you submitted. He always looked forward to that. He appreciated you so much." And I'm like, "Oh, so fulfilled. That's amazing." Because my life goal was to interview him one day. And I was so disappointed that he died. But hearing that, it was like closure. I'm like, it was closure. So I'm proud for that. I don't know why I just started going on that little spiel, but yeah.
No, but I love that.
Yeah, it was like a closure moment for me.
That's good.
Because I was actually weirdly depressed when he died. Because it was sad, but I wanted to interview him, and I'm like, I felt like I failed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but it was closure. Yeah, who have you looked up to growing up?
I admire J-Lo.
J-Lo, the queen.
Yeah.
What about her?
Oprah. J-Lo, she's Latina. She comes from New York, similar to me. And she's multifaceted. Like, not only does she does music, she does entertainment. She wrote books. She does a lot of different things.
Very versatile.
She gives back to the community. I don't know. I just think that she's an overall like great businesswoman.
She is. She knows what she's doing for sure. Yeah.
I don't know why it's always like singers like Beyonce.
Yeah, and you don't sing.
Also like strong. They're like strong women. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That have multiple businesses and they do amazing things.
Yeah. Do you have any businesses outside of what you're doing?
So I am an Airbnb host.
Oh, nice.
What else? I know that there's more. I do so much. Airbnbs. I think that's about it. Oh, I was hosting women's retreats too, but I just recently stepped away from that to focus more on my book publishing academy.
So what goes into being an Airbnb host? Like, do you own other properties and then you host?
No, so I rented a property and then I hosted.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you still do that?
Yeah, but I'm going to step away from that too just so I can focus on one thing.
Yeah. Don't overdo yourself. You gotta, you can't be mentally exhausted.
Exactly.
Yeah. So before we end this interview, is there anything you'd like to say about yourself? Like what the future holds for you, or like anything you'd like the audience to know?
Honestly, I just feel like what you have learned about me today will be completely different in a year. I promise you that. Awesome. I feel like I'm on this trajectory of growth right now on all aspects of my life, and I know that like my business is gonna be in a different space next year. You're gonna hear our name more.
What's your 10-year goal from now?
10-year goal?
10-year goal. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
In 10 years, I see myself, honestly.
Yeah.
I see myself with a CEO of my company
that's
managing it so that I can go around the world and impact people in a philanthropy way. Like, that's what I want to do. I want to go build libraries. I want to give back to the homeless. Like, and I want my business to help fund those things, but I need somebody that's going to manage. I'm more of a visionary, more than task-oriented.
Yeah.
So it's building a team so that I can go out there and do those things.
There you go.
And live without being behind a laptop.
Earn money while you're sleeping.
Pretty much.
And that's the goal. Well, that's very beautiful. Thank you. Well, cheers to you coming on. Thank you for coming on. Thank you guys for checking us out, and we will see you next time.